Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to another video of An Average Programmer. Today we'll start with this new section of the channel, which is the Rookie Programmer. This is the first chapter, and we will discuss some basic concepts of programming, and after that we will solve a Leetcode problem. So let's see today's video's content. We will see variables, specifically mutable variables, homogeneous collections. We will see what is an array. We will see some data types, specifically the number data type, functions, if statements, and loops. And after that, we will solve a Leetcode problem. Okay, so I will recommend you to download this software, which is called Visual Studio Code. And in here, you can put all your code. And I'm going to leave also the notes in the comment section. So let's start by saying what is a variable. Okay, so a variable is a name storage location that holds a value or reference to a value, and they have some particularities. They have a name, they have a value, and they have a data type, and also a memory allocation. Okay, so I'm going to be using TypeScript for this whole video. So a way to declare a variable in TypeScript is by using the reserved word let. Then you will put the name of our variable, which in this case is going to be num, and then the value. So as you can see, the name of my variable is num, the value is 1, the data type is number, and then we will have our memory allocation. In TypeScript, we cannot see the memory allocation, but in some other programming languages like C, you can see the memory allocation, which is just a string with a lot of letters, symbols, and numbers. So it is not relevant to see the memory allocation, but I'm just saying this to have it in mind. Okay, so the data type is number. We have several data types, but in today's video we will only see the number data type, and well, that's for the variables. Then we will see homogeneous collections. In this case, we will see what is an array. Okay, so an array is a data structure that holds multiple values in a single variable, and you can access the values based on the index. So in programming, we start by the 0 index, not by the first one. So I'm going to be declaring an array right now. So I'm using again the reserved word let, the name of my variable, which is r, and then I will give the value, which is going to be an array. For declaring an array, you can use brackets. Okay, so I'm going to be storing some numbers. So I'm going to be storing 1, 2, and 3. Sorry, and as I mentioned, you can store multiple values, and the way to access them is by the index. Okay, so here I have 3 elements, which is 1, 2, and 3, and this is equals to 1, this is equals to 2, and this is equals to 3. Okay, so do not forget that you need to start by the 0 index. Okay, so that is the definition for this. Then we will see functions. Okay, these are an elemental topic for programming. Okay, so we will start with functions. Okay, so for explaining functions, I would like you to imagine that you have a box. Okay, and you have 2 holes, one at the left and one at the right. Okay, so you have inputs and outputs. In the first hole, you will check your inputs because you need to specify what kind of objects you would like to accept in your box. Okay, so let's say that in my box I would only like to accept numbers. Okay, so in my left hole I will only put numbers like 1, 1.2, and 3, -2, different type of numbers. And in my output, I will say that my box will give me a string. Okay, so in my right hole, I will receive my name, for example, a string containing my name, Gerardo. Okay, so inside this box, you need to specify all the procedures and methodologies that you would like to use, a way to declare a function is by using the reserved word function. Then the name of my function, I'm going to be saying that the name of my function is going to be sum, like just to add two values. Okay, then I will need to declare my inputs, what I want to accept in my box. I want to accept one number, the num1, which is going to be of type number, and num2, which is going to be also of data type number. And my output is going to be also a number. Okay, so I will just want to add these two numbers, so I'm going to be saying num1 plus num2. Okay, so there are several things to notice in this function. I'm using the word return because I need to return something. Yeah, imagine that this is the object that will get out of my box of the right hole. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be giving as an output of my function, which is the sum of num1 and num2. This is the output, and this is what I'm receiving in my box, in my left hole. Okay, so that is a way to declare a function. And yeah, then we'll see if statements. Okay, so you might already know what is an if statement, but it's as in the real world, if something is true or if something is false, then you need to do this. Okay, so a way to create an if statement is by using the reserved word if, and then I'm going to be using the curly brackets to specify what I'm going to be doing if this is true. Okay, if 1 is less than 2, which we already know that this is true, then we will run the code that is inside the curly brackets. Okay, then if this is not true, then we will run this other code. Okay, so we know that this is going to be true because 1 is less than 2, so we will do a lot of things in this part. But for example, 5 less than 2, this is not true, so then our algorithm will run the code that is inside of the else curly brackets. Okay, so you are already watching something, which is this icon, the less than symbol. This is used as a comparison operator, and we used a lot of comparisons operator. Less and equals than, bigger than, bigger or equals than, equals, different. But let's just say that we will need to evaluate something inside these parentheses, and if that is true, then we will run the first section of the curly brackets, and if that is false, then we will run the second section of our curly brackets. Okay, so this is a way to declare an if statement. Okay, so I hope this was clear for you, and then we will see loops. Okay, so there are different ways to declare a loop, but for today's video we will use the for each loop, which is kind of the easier one. So for doing this, you need to use the reserved word for, and so for example, here I have my array. Let's just call this numbers instead of r, because we are storing numbers in this variable. Okay, so it is not necessary to use all the indexes to know the values of my array. You can do it in a for each loop. So we can use you can use the following notation. What I'm doing in this for loop is that I'm iterating over the whole array, which is numbers, and I'm going to pass through all the values, which is 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is a good way to avoid using the indexes. Okay, so it's easier and it's also shorter. So with the for loops, you can iterate through an array, through an object, and you can do something with all the values of our array. Okay, so inside the for loop, we will do something value. Okay, so that is a way to represent a for loop. Okay, so I hope this was clear for you. Okay, so this is the problem that we will solve in today's video, which is problem 2185, counting words with a given prefix in Leetcode. You can look for it by the ID. This is an easy problem, and I think it's a good exercise. We will receive an array. This is the array, which is going to be called words. We will receive also a string, which is going to be called pref, and we need to return a number. Okay, so this is a function. As I mentioned, just imagine that you have a box with two holes. The first hole is for the input, and the second hole is for the output. So these are our inputs, and this is our output. And we need to count all the words that start with our prefix. This is our prefix. Our prefix is going to be inside this variable, and these are going to be the words. So for this first example, we can say that attention and attend start with the word at. So we have two words that start with the word at. Okay, so let's create our variable, which is going to be result. We will say that initially it's going to be 0, and we need to return our result because this is expected output for our function. Then we will use a for each loop. So we will pass through all of our words, and we will say if my word starts with the prefix, then I would like to increase the value of my result. Okay, what I'm doing with this line of code is the following. I'm saying that I will keep the value of my result and I will just add 1. Okay, but this is another way to declare it. Okay, so this should be good and this should be passing. Okay, and let's submit our solution. Okay, so let's see also the time complexity. Well, later we will see what is a time complexity, but let's just say that we saw what is a variable, we saw the for each loop, what is a function, the input and output of a function, and yeah, so I hope this was clear for you. And yeah, I'm going to be leaving all the details in the comment section, all the details of the code, right? sorry if this was not that clear. I cannot express myself so well when I have to talk really low, because right now I'm at the library. So yeah, so I hope you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.